What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 46 of the Abstract Sports Podcast, where we are bringing sports back to life with a unique perspective on the game from abstract yet popular angles. As always, coming at you live on Facebook. We're doing it at a little bit of a different time today. Normally it's at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, but I have a bowling tournament to practice for tonight, so I started an hour early. That probably explains why there's nobody in the chat right now, but that's totally okay. It's going to catch people off guard, and maybe it'll catch them, make them come back and watch the episode a little bit later. But feel free to share this broadcast with your friends and family, no matter where you are. If you're watching on YouTube, share it with a friend who, at a point in the show where you think that they might like some of the points we make here. But it's NBA playoff action, guys, and so we're going to be talking pretty much all about NBA playoff action. I'm Kyle Clay 2K. Check out the new username. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And let's just get this show going. All right, so for starters, I'm just going to go down the schedule of games that are on tonight. Right now, we've got we've got the Pacers playing the Cavaliers in Cleveland. It's still round one, obviously. If you've been living under a rock, you probably wouldn't know. Round one, game two, that game's going on right now. I got a notification on my phone that was telling me that LeBron scored the first 16 points for the Cavaliers starting out the game, just kind of driving and getting buckets like he does. I'm going to pull up this other page here to see where the game's at. The Cavs currently lead the Pacers in their home court 52-44 with about a minute and a half to go in the second quarter. Basically, in this series, the Pacers shocked the Cavaliers in game one, got a win at home, or on the road for the Pacers anyway. And so that kind of changes the playoff picture in a big way because, home court advantage plays a huge role in getting wins in the NBA playoffs. So if they can get one on the road, come back home, win a couple there, they're up 3-1. But LeBron says he knows what it's like to be down 3-1 in the NBA Finals, so he thinks that he will fare just fine. So we'll see what happens in this series, but right now it's still a close game. I mean, regardless of LeBron's first 16 points in the game, they're up 10, a minute to go. I think I have the Cavaliers going on to win this series. Let me actually pull up my playoff picture here. I think I should be able to do that. Let's sign in. Because I have a playoff picture that I made to show the progress of the series and who's winning what games and what the scores are like. But I also started a NBA playoff bracket. I think it's a new thing they started this year. But it's actually kind of cool. You're able to go through and pick your bracket similar to like in the March Madness. It's a lot quicker because there's less games. But then the way they do the tiebreaker is you get to pick who you think is going to win like the series, but also what do you think the final series tally is going to be. So I actually have the Cavs winning this series in game... Oh, really? Did I say that? I had said 4-1 Cavs. I feel like I meant something else there. But, yeah, so I have the Cavs winning the series 4-1. If that's true, that means the Cavs win 4 straight starting tonight. So they better get on it. But let's just look at the other games we have going on right now. Or tonight, anyways, I should say. So beyond the Cavs-Pacers game, which is about at halftime, we've got the Jazz at Oklahoma City Thunder. That's not... Oh, no, that is right. It's still game 2 for them, isn't it? They've been putting more days in between the games, and it's messing me up. Because I'm still thinking that it should be, one game, 1 day off, another game, and then you take 2 days off to travel to the other team's city, game, off day, game, and, just keep doing that. And so all the days in between has got me all messed up. So game 2 between the Jazz and Thunder in Oklahoma City is at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So that one should be underway right now. If it's not, it's probably just about to tip off. And that one's on NBA TV. Then later on TNT, after the Cavs game, you've got Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Houston Rockets. And these are all game 2s in the first round. So let's go take a look at the bracket now and see what the standings are looking like. Let me just make sure this Jazz game hasn't started. Yeah, the game is just about to tip off. So looks like the Cavs are going to go into the half leading by 10 plus. So let's take a look at the progress here. I actually have a graphic. Even though there's nobody here to see the graphic, I'm going to talk about it. So basically, Houston got the first game at home, as you would imagine. The Timberwolves tried to come back and win that game, but they just couldn't do it. Jimmy Buckets, they brought him in with like 7 or 8 minutes to go, and when the Rockets started to take off on a little run, they brought him back in, and he helped almost save them, but it wasn't quite enough. Then you've got Oklahoma City beating Utah for the first game in Oklahoma City. The Jazz kept that one kind of close, but the big thing about that game is you've got Donovan Mitchell, who he got stepped on during the game. I think it was in the first half or like the third quarter. It was in some weird, obscure part of the game because he got injured, and then later on, he was feeling the pain in his foot, almost like there was some sort of long-term damage done to it. And so the medical staff pulled him out of the game to look at his foot, and he didn't know why they took him out. And they were like, "Oh, we wanted to check on your foot." And he's like, No. And he checked himself back into the game. So that says a lot about his character and the type of player he is. He wants to help his team get a win. And he's on a team that could have been a 3 seed, but fell down to a 5 seed by not beating the Trailblazers in that last game of the season. I think that was the case. I don't remember for sure. The Blazers have the number 3 spot now, and I think they lost game 1, but we'll get there. So anyways, Donovan Mitchell, he's the man to be carrying that team. Without him, they are trash. And that's a little bit harsh. I shouldn't say that. They're not complete trash. Obviously they got Joe Ingles, they got Ricky Rubio and Rudy Gobert. I do think they have a defensive player in the year, if not pretty, runner-up in Rudy Gobert. And also I think they have Coach of the Year, Quinn Snyder. I think he's actually getting that this year. That reminds me, I need to double back and check out what my predictions were for the end of the year NBA awards, because I think I have like half of them right. And I feel confident still in those picks if they're correct in my head. So I'll have to pull that up next podcast next week and talk about those. So back to the playoff picture a little bit here. So you've got, that's right, the New Orleans Pelicans beat Portland in games 1 and 2 in Portland. So this is a 3 seed going against a 6 seed. And oh man, that's just bad for the Trailblazers. This is a team who, had to claw their way up to 3rd. But then, in the West, there were like 7 teams that were close there at the end. So all those teams are dead even in theory. And this is kind of showing that like any of those teams could win. And then you go to Golden State with taking on the Spurs. They got the first 2 games in Golden State. Ginobili is giving them a little bit of hope. LaMarcus Aldridge is sort of the star of that team, putting up big numbers for them. Had a gnarly fadeaway in somebody's face the other day. It was amazing. So that's what we've got for the West. Again, OKC, Utah is tipping off now. Houston and Minnesota will be on later tonight after the Cavs game. So look out for that one. Over to the East. Over here to the East, we've got Toronto Raptors taking on Washington State Wizards. Washington State Wizards? What am I saying? That's not how that goes. It's the Washington Wizards from D.C., boy. The Raptors got the first 2 games. DeMar DeRozan put up like 37 points last night, and Kyle Lowry's kind of giving him some crap when they were doing their post-game interviews. Pretty hilarious. Probably want to check that out. But Raptors got those first 2 games, I think, relatively easily. And then you've got Cavs and the Indiana Pacers right now that are at halftime. Let me check the score. Score at half is not updated for me yet. Well, that's anticlimactic. Let's see here. Halftime, 58-46. So they're up 12 at the half. Cavs are. Where am I? Where did I go? Okay. And then one of the more interesting series where it's not just like one way or the other so far is Philadelphia and Miami. So that series is in Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is the favorite team. And the crazy thing about that is that the Miami Heat beat them on their home floor last night. Or I think it was last night, a couple nights ago. Dwayne Wade, well, he was like vintage Dwayne the other night. Just picking his spots and backing down his defender, shaking him off with the shoulder, and then turnaround jumper, and it was nothing but net all night. Like a couple of times he had guys like right up in his face, and he just like rainbowed, like woo, way over their heads, and it went in. So that was pretty exciting. And then I don't know why I turned that off, but that makes that series way more fun to watch because you got the games split at home for the Philadelphia 76ers. They have to travel to Miami, hope they can get one of those games to match what the Heat did to them on their home floor, and then seal the deal in hopefully Game 6. I have Philadelphia winning that series easily. I think I had it set up as a sweep, and obviously that did not happen. Last series that's going on right now, this one, the game was last night. Boston beat the Bucks again last night to put them up 2-0 in the series for round one. And I think, let me check my prediction. I'm going to go over here to my prediction. Let's see. I had the Bucks winning that series in 7 games. So it could still happen, but they gave up both of those games on the road. They have to go back to Milwaukee and show up. They've got to do everything they can to get those 2 home wins, carry that momentum into an away game in Boston, get a third, and then finish it off at home in Game 6. That's what. Well, that would mean it wouldn't be Game 7. Wow, I'm just all over the place right now. But I do think the Bucks are going to win that series. They're going to have to pull it out of a hat, though. And then I have them. I'm predicting the Bucks to go on to take the 76ers in round 2, and I have the Sixers winning that 4-2. And then let's see. I actually have the Sixers going all the way to the conference. No. Yeah, that's right. The conference finals against the Raptors. So that tells you I have the Raptors easily beating the Wizards. I think that's going to happen, no doubt. I have that one set up as a 4-1. Maybe the Wizards are going to get one magically in D.C., but the Raptors are going to move on to play the Cavaliers. And I actually have the Cavaliers getting beat in 7 games in round 2. The way that I've described it to my friends is that, LeBron, he can take control of a game, and they have a little more rest this year, it seems, in the postseason to be able to get their legs underneath them again and come back strong for their next game. Well, I still think that he's at that old enough age where the competition in the East is young and in their prime almost, and he's just not going to be able to last through 2 series against those types of teams. So the Raptors are going to take round 2 against the Cavaliers in Game 7 is my prediction. I mean, LeBron's not going to go out with a fight, let's be honest. I just think that he's not going to be able to get it done Game 7. But then the Raptors will go on to play 76ers. I have the Raptors going on to the championship, okay? I think the way that those 2 teams are playing, the Raptors not easily. I can't say easily when it's conference finals in the East, but 1 and 3 seed, I think the Raptors will beat the 76ers. I have that series predicted at 4-2. Hopefully Joel Embiid can be back for their road games in Miami because they need him drastically. So let's move on over to the West predictions. It's pretty easy for me to predict that the Rockets are going to beat the Timberwolves. It is a 1-8 seed, but that says nothing to me. I like to look at a lot more than just the seeding. It's kind of like March Madness. There's way more that goes into it. But James Harden is the MVP this year in my mind, hands down. So I think he's going to lead his team along with Chris Paul and everybody else they have to go to round 2. Timberwolves will get 1 at home, but that's about it. And then going on to OKC and the Utah Jazz, I actually have the Thunder beating them in 6 games. I would love to see the Jazz move on because they're a team that is close enough to me, and I go watch their games all the time. And I love Donovan Mitchell. That dude he's going to be an all-star. superstar type player. Hopefully the Jazz can keep him there in the small market of Salt Lake City. But the Jazz will get probably both their home games starting tonight. Or not tonight, the next game. I'm still ahead of myself. But OKC is going to come out on top 4-2, go on to play the Rockets. And then I have the Rockets going on to the conference championship. So for the other half of the Western Conference, you've got Trailblazers, Pelicans. Pelicans took both games. I have them winning this series, actually. I just think Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday, the way they've been playing lately, I don't have them going down against a team like the Trailblazers. I know that the Trailblazers can be a pretty clutch team, but they just don't put up numbers like the Pelicans players do. It's kind of, I don't know how to put it. They don't have a guy to match up against Anthony Davis, and we've seen that in the last several games. He's got like some big stats going. I don't have any exact numbers in front of me, but if you've been watching, you know what I'm talking about. So they're going to move on to play the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors, I have them sweeping the Spurs. I'm sorry. They're one of those teams that just doesn't have a good mix of young players and players in their prime with a few vets to like take them on. I feel like a team's got to have a lot of diversity, not only in playing style, obviously position, but playing style. But they also have to have a lot of diversity in the amount of experience that they have, in my opinion, because you should have some vets that should be on your roster to help show some of the younger players around and get them acclimated to their situation, rookies and sophomore players. But then you should also have some like well-seasoned players who are not like, not veterans in the sense that they're older, but they are like experienced, that they know how the NBA works and they're working their way towards their primes of their careers. Basically the workhorses of the team. And then you should have some young guys to create some sustainability for the team to move forward, so that when those older guys retire, the guys who are well-seasoned can take over that leadership role, let the young guys grow up, and then bring in some new ones. So I just don't think the Spurs have that. I like the Spurs as a team, and Popovich is one of my favorite coaches, one of the best ever. I don't think they're going to get a win in that series. So the Warriors are going to move on to round 2, where they probably are going to have Steph Curry. They're saying that he's out for at least one round. If they have Steph Curry, I have them beating the Pelicans in 5 games and moving on to play the Rockets. This is where things get interesting. I just think this is the year where this back-to-back-to-back Cavs-Warriors thing falls apart. The Rockets are going to beat the Warriors. Rockets are going to beat the Warriors. I have it predicted at 7 games. And I just think that the Rockets this year are gelling together a lot better than the Warriors are. When the Warriors won their 2 championships, 2017 and 2015, especially the 2015 team. Both of them. I can't like knock one or the other. They're both amazing teams, but the 2015 and 2017 Golden State Warriors teams, they gelled together really well. Their ball movement was insane. There were several times throughout the season where they didn't even dribble the ball going down the court because their ball movement was superb. Drawing the defense to a corner, hitting a cutter for a layup, or driving the lane off a pass and then kicking it out to the 3-point shooter. So, hey Jeff, how's it going, man? Welcome to the show. Just talking about some playoff basketball, if you couldn't tell. But the Warriors, they're going to beat the Rockets will beat the Warriors in 7 games. James Harden and Chris Paul, that duo right there is really hard to beat. Granted, I do have to say, I do think James Harden's step back jumpers are travels. He definitely plants his pivot foot twice. That is a travel. If you watch it in slow motion, it's even worse. And I imagine in real time, the refs are just kind of thinking like, oh, he got a dribble in when he put that foot down, but really that's not the case. So with that, I do have the Rockets moving on to the championship to play the Raptors, and I'll put the playoff picture up here one more time. So that you can kind of see the paths that those teams would have to take. Rockets, Raptors, and the NBA Finals, and I picked the Houston Rockets. getting that win, getting that championship with that MVP. Kind of like last year. No, that's not true. Westbrook got MVP last year. They did not win the championship. That's for damn sure. But Rockets are going to get it over the Raptors this year. But, the Raptors, if they can keep a squad like that together for the next few years, they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. They had the best record this season, I think. It was at least close to the Rockets. So the two best teams, East and West, I think they're going to do the seeding justice, and they're going to both make it to the championship series. Rockets are going to win it. That's pretty much where I stand. That was just some rapid-fire NBA action, if there was any. Holy cow, just all over the place. But just a quick update, the Jazz are currently beating the Thunder 14-12 on NBA TV, 5 minutes to go in the first. That game is still young, so can't make any promises yet. Let's see, what else do I have on my list here? This is, like I said, this is going to be a really short show, but just to top it off, I'm going to talk to you about some things I've been thinking about. I've mentioned it the last couple of podcasts, but I just like to get the thoughts out there, and I'm actually going to ask what you think. So I have sort of a branding problem where I want to make an account, like social media accounts, to follow certain things and gather the best news for certain topics. So for example, I have Abstract Sports. Abstract Sports, this whole thing, this my baby here, this is where I sort of talk about all things relating to sports. Like, no discrimination against any sport in particular at all. I was going to make a snide comment, but I won't. But you see my username on Twitter may have changed. If you notice things on the stream here, underneath my microphone, there's a little thing that says Kyle Clay 2K. So my big thing is basketball. This whole show is going to be about basketball because it is playoff season. It is hockey playoff season too, and I should be talking about that, but I'm not. I don't know what else to say, but I'm not. But this Kyle Clay 2K idea is, let me just paint this picture for you. So I'm a full-time graphic designer, web designer, website builder. I do creative things, and Abstract Sports was the result of a lot of that. But I'm also a huge sports nerd, and that's what Abstract Sports is. But to take it even further, I'm a big basketball guy. That's like my main thing. And so the last couple of podcasts I've mentioned wanting to do my own show about basketball. And so I created this new handle. It's Kyle Clay 2K. You can go follow it. Let me see if I can do this here. Kyle Clay 2K. Follow it on Twitter and Instagram. Also on Twitch. So this is where I'm kind of up in the air about things. This is where I'll be curating a lot of basketball content. You'll probably see if you follow me on Twitter, like Abstract Sports on Twitter, I'm going to be using Abstract Sports to like retweet content from the Kyle Clay 2K account to like sort of curate the basketball stuff. Build a following over there for Kyle Clay 2K, and that's where my basketball show is going to exist. I don't know if Kyle Clay 2K is going to be the show. That's going to be the name of it, the Kyle Clay 2K show. I think that's kind of lame, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe it has its own name, like the All Ball Podcast. So it's like something that's relating to basketball, but Kyle Clay 2K, which is myself, would be the host. So I'm just throwing this all out there to see what you all think. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards just having the show be called Kyle Clay 2K, and maybe I just do it on Twitch. And, maybe I keep this show going once a week, but then I hop on Twitch every once in a while and talk about basketball, play some NBA 2K, and maybe even do like some live commentating on simulated NBA 2K games. I think that could be kind of funny. Different kind of content for basketball, but gives you a chance to talk about things relating to the teams that are playing in that game. So it's kind of an indirect way of getting news. And you can also set up any scenario you want. You can simulate the Warriors against the Cavs for a rematch and talk about the history of that matchup. Or you could say, let's play with the historic Bulls going against the historic Jazz and talk about that, how that was in the past. So those are just kind of my thoughts. I'm thinking it's just going to be a show with my name as a personality. And so I definitely encourage you to go follow Kyle Clay 2K on Instagram. On that account, I'm going to be posting a lot of things related to basketball. Right now, it's just my profile picture and a bio. That's about it. But when you see the logo, you're going to know it's me. Also in the bio, it says that I'm a contributor at Abstract Sports. So should be pretty easy for you to find. But also on Twitter, I am going to be sharing all basketball things on Twitter through the Kyle Clay 2K account. And then the good stuff I'll be retweeting from the Abstract Sports account. So it's kind of like this giant annoying chain reaction that has me feeling like everybody's, judging me from the outside. Like, why, Kyle, why do you want me to follow all these accounts? Like, what's your plan here? And I'll tell you, I'm a little confused. I don't know what my plan is. All I know is that Abstract Sports is good and great, but basketball is my main side girl, if you know what I mean. And and so I want to dedicate a show to her. And Kyle Clay 2K is sort of the personality that's going to be running that whole thing. By personality, I mean it's me. Also, to take it a step further, we're not even talking about sports anymore. We're talking about branding. We're talking about continuity and branding. But it's important, and I think I want to be very transparent with you guys. So if you see these accounts roaming around on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch and Facebook and whatever, just know that these are the thoughts going through my head. I'm very confused in what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of going with I'm rolling with the punches. That's one way of putting it. But the reason I chose Kyle Clay 2K is that it's sort of like a spin-off of my design stuff, because my domain name is kyleclay.com, right? And Kyle Clay 2K is kind of like the upgraded version, or like the other me, my alter ego. And the 2K is sort of derived from the game NBA 2K. So I feel like it's pretty straightforward about what it's going to be about, the 2K part anyways. But then the Kyle Clay is connecting it back to me as a person, but also keeping it separate from the design stuff. Because while design is my life skill, my training, and what I love to do, sports is like the other half of me, and I feel like it deserves its own recognition, its own side of things. So let me know what you think about all of that. I know it's probably just a bunch of mumbo jumbo to a lot of you, but I know maybe Clay, if you're listening, Clay on YouTube, this is something that I know he's going to hear and be like, whoa, he's talking to me. But this was posted after the live show, so what the heck? But Clay, I'm curious about what your thoughts are. You're always very active in the YouTube comments. I always appreciate that. And I'm curious what you think about the Kyle Clay 2K thing. Do you think it's a good idea to keep it separate from everything, almost like it's my personality page? And then I have the Kyle Clay design stuff as like a separate. Just feel free to let me know what your thoughts are. If you think I'm crazy or I'm overthinking it, I think I'm both of those things. But I do think it is important to keep it separate from people. Like, on my design accounts, people don't want to see me talking about basketball. They want to see me talking about design. And that's sort of what it's meant to be for. But I also see how it could all just be one big happy party. And I don't know. I've got a lot of advice from a lot of people, and I just thought I'd throw it out there with all of y'all and let you know the kind of thought process I'm going through. A couple of quick things before I head out here today. I know that the NFL preseason schedule was released. I mentioned that last episode, but tomorrow they are releasing, I believe, if I remember right, tomorrow the NFL is releasing the regular season schedule. And I am starting to put together pages on the website for all the major sports that I want to keep track of and show stats for, and hopefully try to draw some traffic from Google searches. And it's been working very well for the NBA 2K League. That season tips off the 1st of May. So I'm building a lot of traction, and once that season starts, it's going to be a lot of activity on the website, putting up stats and all kinds of things like that. But with the NFL season right around the corner, there's too many stats to keep track of in football. There's too many things like that. So I'm going to stick to the scheduling side of things. I want my website to be a place where you can go to find a little bit of information about a team, find out what their schedule is, who they're playing on what days, when, where, things like that. And then I'll build off of it from there. But I think the schedule is going to be the best place to start. And then who knows what we'll add to football going forward. But NFL pages are in the works. Probably be able to see the beginning of those tomorrow, and I'll probably share something on the social media outlets, so look forward to that. But I'm pretty sure that does it for me today. Be sure to follow, subscribe, like the social media outlets that you are watching or hearing this from. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Look for Abstract Sports. Our handle is the same on every single channel. If you look for Abstract Sports on YouTube, you'll find us there. Also, Anchor.fm, where we post all of our audio content and distribute from there. That's on Anchor.fm. So, pretty sure that's all I've got for you guys. Don't forget that if you want to support the show, other than being a viewer, listener, or reader, please head over to abstractsports.com/support. You can drop a little donation there. That money goes to giving Abstract Sports a place on the internet to store all of our stories, all of our media, all of our shows, and it's greatly appreciated. So that does it for me. I just want to say thank you again to everybody for listening and dealing with me as I go through a pretty stumbly day today. But I think we covered a lot of important things, especially the NBA playoffs, my favorite sports season of the year. So I'm going to head out of here. Don't forget to follow me. I'm Kyle Clay 2K. Get at me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday. All right. Bye-bye.